Some television shows become more than just entertainment. They change the conversation, push boundaries, and leave their mark on history. All in the Family was one of those rare programs that made America uncomfortable and couldn't stop watching. But even for fans who've seen every episode, there are small details hiding in plain sight. Production choices, casting decisions, and behind-the-scenes moments that add extra layers to the show's legacy. Today we're counting down 15 small details you missed in All in the Family. Number 1. The show almost had a different name.
You go back to where you came from and send me a Jew.
Before All in the Family premiered on CBS in 1971, the show went through multiple iterations and titles. Norman Lear first pitched the concept to ABC in 1968. The network commissioned a pilot filmed under the title Justice for All. ABC watched the pilot and passed on the series, finding the content too controversial for prime time. But Lear believed in the concept and convinced ABC to let him try again. He retooled the pilot and gave it a new name, Those Were the Days. ABC filmed this second version and once again decided not to move forward. Lear took the concept to CBS, where executives were willing to take a chance. For the third attempt, Lear changed the title to All in the Family. That title change reflected a fundamental shift in how the show presented itself. Justice for All suggested grand themes about American society. Those Were the Days carried nostalgia in its name, but All in the Family brought everything down to the intimate scale of one household, where all the social issues of the era played out around the dinner table. Number 2. Carroll O'Connor expected the show to fail.
Got a husband who bashes my skull, and you know what? These used to be my real teeth.
Carroll O'Connor was living in Rome when Norman Lear offered him the role of Archie Bunker. O'Connor had established a comfortable life in Italy, working in European films, and enjoying a slower pace than Hollywood offered. When Lear described the character, a working-class bigot who would spout every prejudice imaginable, O'Connor understood the satirical intent, but was deeply skeptical about whether American audiences would accept such a controversial character. O'Connor was convinced the show would be a complete disaster. He worried that CBS would cancel the show after 1 or 2 episodes and that his career would be damaged. Because of these concerns, O'Connor made a specific request before agreeing to film the pilot. He asked Norman Lear to provide him with a round-trip ticket back to Rome so he could return home quickly when the inevitable failure occurred. Lear agreed and purchased the ticket. O'Connor came to America, filmed the pilot, and waited for the disaster. Instead, All in the Family became one of the most successful sitcoms in television history, topping the Nielsen ratings for 5 consecutive years from 1971 to 1976. O'Connor never used that return ticket. Number 3. Mickey Rooney turned down the role of Archie Bunker. Norman Lear's first choice to play Archie Bunker wasn't Carroll O'Connor. Lear wanted Mickey Rooney, the accomplished actor who'd been a major star since childhood. Rooney had the working-class energy Lear envisioned for the character, and his long career had proven he could handle both comedy and drama. Lear called Rooney and described the concept, a comedy about a bigoted father dealing with his liberal son-in-law. He explained that Archie would use ethnic slurs and express prejudiced opinions to expose bigotry by making it look foolish. Rooney's reaction was immediate and intense. He told Lear that people would shoot him dead in the streets for putting this kind of content on television. Beyond his concerns about Lear's safety, Rooney found Archie Bunker fundamentally un-American. He refused the role because he didn't want to be associated with those attitudes, even in satire. Lear moved on and eventually found Carroll O'Connor, who understood the character and was willing to take the risk. Number 4. The piano opening was a budget decision.
Get that tail down!
The iconic opening sequence with Archie and Edith at the piano became one of the most recognizable intros in television history, but Norman Lear explained that the piano sequence happened because of budget constraints. After completing the pilot episode, the production team didn't have enough money left to create an elaborate opening credits sequence. They needed something simple and inexpensive that could be filmed quickly with minimal crew. Lear decided to have the 2 main characters sit at a piano and sing together. The entire sequence could be filmed on one set with one camera in a single afternoon. It required no special effects, no location shooting, and no expensive post-production work. That cost-cutting measure became one of the most beloved aspects of the show. The intimacy of watching Archie and Edith together at the piano, the simplicity of the staging, and the warmth of their obvious affection for each other worked perfectly to establish the show's tone. Number 5. Gene Stapleton deliberately sang badly.
Remember me? Yeah, sure, Doris Day.
No, Louise Jeff!
Edith Bunker's high-pitched, slightly off-key singing voice in the opening theme became one of her most endearing qualities. But Jean Stapleton was actually a trained singer with a beautiful voice. She'd performed in Broadway musicals before joining All in the Family, and she had excellent pitch and breath control. Stapleton made a deliberate choice to sing badly as Edith. She understood that Edith wasn't supposed to be a polished performer. Edith was a working-class housewife from Queens who loved singing even though she didn't have professional talent. If Stapleton had sung perfectly, the opening wouldn't have had the same authentic charm. Stapleton consciously pitched her voice too high, allowed herself to go slightly off-key at strategic moments, and sang with unself-conscious enthusiasm. That deliberate imperfection made Edith feel real in a way that perfect singing never could have achieved. Number 6, the closing theme, had secret lyrics.
All right, over here then, over here.
What's the matter for you? I don't know, I just feel black.
The instrumental closing theme, Remembering You, played at the end of every episode while the credits rolled. The music, composed by Roger Kellaway, had a melancholy quality that contrasted with the upbeat opening. What most viewers never knew was that Carroll O'Connor later wrote lyrics for that instrumental piece. O'Connor was a talented writer and felt that Remembering You could work as a proper song. The lyrics he wrote were about the end of a romance and lost love. O'Connor recorded a vocal version for a record album and performed the song with lyrics several times on television variety shows, but those lyrics about heartbreak were never actually used in the series itself. The closing theme remained instrumental throughout All in the Family's entire 9-season run, playing over footage of the Queens neighborhood filmed in the opposite direction from the opening. Number 7, Rob Reiner's sock and shoe habit made it into a script.
Yes, now on 3, okay? 1, 2, 3.
Carroll O'Connor dropped by Rob Reiner's dressing room during the show's run and noticed something unusual. Reiner would put a sock on his left foot, then immediately put his left shoe on and tie it. Only after finishing with his left foot would he move to his right foot. O'Connor was baffled by this sock shoe pattern when most people follow sock shoe. O'Connor actually lectured Reiner on the correct way to don footwear. Reiner thought the reaction was hilarious and told the writers about the incident. They recognized this was exactly the kind of trivial disagreement that would drive Archie Bunker crazy. The writers included the sock and shoe debate in an episode called Gloria Sings the Blues. Archie and Mike argue about the proper order for getting dressed, with Archie insisting anyone with common sense puts both socks on before touching their shoes. The argument escalates the way conflicts always did in the Bunker household. Number 8, the famous Sammy Davis Jr. Kiss was O'Connor's idea.
Wide open sex any time of the night or day for no reason at all?
Sammy Davis Jr. was a huge fan of All in the Family and specifically requested to appear on the show. The result was Sammy's visit from season 2. In the episode, Davis accidentally leaves his briefcase in Archie's taxicab and comes to the Bunker house to retrieve it. Archie is excited about having a famous entertainer in his home while completely missing the irony. At the end of Davis's visit, he kisses Archie on the cheek before leaving. That kiss wasn't in the original script. Carroll O'Connor suggested it during rehearsals. O'Connor and Davis were good friends in real life, and O'Connor knew Davis would be comfortable with the gesture and that it would perfectly punctuate the episode's themes. When they filmed the scene, the kiss got the loudest and longest laugh in the entire history of the series. The audience erupted with laughter that continued so long, the editors had to trim it for the broadcast version. Number 9, the show was based on a British series.
I don't know. You said the FBI's tricky. That could be very damaging.
All in the Family wasn't an original American creation. Norman Lear bought the rights to a British sitcom called Till Death Us Do Part, which had been running on the BBC since 1965. The British version featured Alf Garnett, a working-class Londoner living in the East End with his wife, daughter, and son-in-law from Liverpool. Alf Garnett was a loud-mouthed reactionary who had strong opinions about everything and wasn't shy about expressing them. He was vocal in his dislike of Americans, Catholics, and anyone who didn't fit his narrow definition of proper British identity. The show was hugely hugely popular in Britain precisely because it made people uncomfortable. It forced audiences to confront attitudes that many people held but rarely expressed so bluntly. Norman Lear saw the potential to adapt this concept for American television. He purchased the rights and began transforming Alf Garnett into an American character. But Lear didn't simply transplant the British version to an American setting. He fundamentally reimagined the show for the specific social tensions of early 1970s America. The American Archie Bunker dealt with race relations in ways that reflected America's particular history and ongoing struggles with civil rights. He confronted the Vietnam War and the generational divide it created. He grappled with women's liberation, gay rights, and other social movements that were transforming American culture. While the basic family structure remained the same, conservative father, liberal son-in-law, put-upon wife, daughter caught in the middle, everything else was specifically tailored to American audiences and American issues. Number 10. Nixon hated the show.
Hey, well, geez, I'm hungry. What is this?
All in the Family earned the nickname "The Show Nixon Hated," and the designation was well-deserved. President Richard Nixon despised the program and what it represented. He felt that the show's frank discussions of controversial topics were inappropriate for television, and that Norman Lear was using the medium irresponsibly to push a liberal agenda. Nixon's criticism of the show was both public and private. He complained about it in meetings with aides and expressed his displeasure to network executives. He believed that television should promote traditional values and bring families together, not divide them with arguments about race, politics, and social change. From Nixon's perspective, All in the Family was everything wrong with modern entertainment. The irony of Nixon's hatred was delicious and multi-layered. Many conservative viewers loved Archie Bunker and saw him as a hero standing up for traditional values in a world that had gone crazy with permissiveness and political correctness. They completely missed that the show was actually satirizing those attitudes, that viewers were supposed to laugh at Archie, not with him. These conservative fans cheered when Archie put Mike in his place and agreed with Archie's complaints about the direction the country was heading. Liberal viewers understood that Archie was meant to be the butt of the joke. They saw the show as progressive satire that exposed prejudice by making it look foolish. They laughed at Archie's ignorance and cheered when Mike or Gloria or even Edith would quietly undermine his worldview with logic or compassion. Nixon's public criticism only boosted the show's popularity. People who might not have watched started tuning in to see what had the president so upset. The controversy helped cement All in the Family's reputation as groundbreaking television that was willing to tackle subjects other shows avoided. Number 11. Gene Stapleton turned down Willy Wonka to stay with the show.
Come on, Ain't it?
During the first season of All in the Family in 1970, Gene Stapleton received an offer that would have changed her career trajectory significantly. The filmmakers producing Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory wanted her for a role in the movie. They were casting Mrs. TV, the mother of Mike TV, one of the children who wins a golden ticket to visit Willy Wonka's factory. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory would become one of the most beloved children's films ever made, a movie that generations of families would watch together. Being part of that film would have given Stapleton a different kind of recognition and immortality than television could provide. The movie would play in theaters, be shown on television for decades, and eventually find new life on home video and streaming services. But Stapleton declined the role. She was content playing Edith Bunker and wanted to continue with All in the Family. She saw potential in the show and in the character, and she didn't want to interrupt her work on what was clearly becoming something special. The part of Mrs. TV went to Nora Denny instead, who gave a perfectly fine performance in the role. Stapleton never expressed regret about her decision. In interviews years later, when asked about turning down Willy Wonka, she would say that her role as Edith was classic and she was happy with her choice. She was right. Edith Bunker became one of the most beloved characters in television history. Stapleton won 3 Emmy Awards for playing Edith and became so identified with the character that for the rest of her life, people would approach her on the street and call her Edith. Number 12. The goodbye scene between Mike and Archie was completely real. In the episode, The Stivicks Go West, Mike and Gloria say goodbye to Archie and Edith before moving to California. Mike has accepted a teaching position at a college on the West Coast, and the couple is leaving to start their new life. The scene where they say their final goodbyes in the bunker living room is one of the most emotional moments in the entire series. Rob Reiner later explained that filming that final scene was intensely emotional for the entire cast. After working together for 8 years, they'd become a real family. They'd spent more time with each other than with their actual relatives. They'd celebrated births, mourned deaths, supported each other through personal crises, and created television history together. The bonds between them went far deeper than professional courtesy or acting technique. When the time came to film the goodbye scene, Reiner described it as requiring no acting whatsoever. He said their emotions just came pouring out naturally, without any need to manufacture feelings or remember character motivations. When he looked at Carroll O'Connor during that scene, everything he felt about leaving the show and leaving the man who'd been like a father to him for 8 years was right there on his face. O'Connor, for his part, wasn't performing grief at losing his son-in-law character. He was experiencing genuine sadness about Rob Reiner leaving the show. The tears were real. The catch in his voice was authentic. The hug they shared wasn't blocked or rehearsed. It was just two people who cared about each other saying goodbye. It was one of those rare moments when the cameras captured genuine emotion rather than performance. Viewers watching at home could feel the authenticity of what they were seeing, even if they didn't know the behind-the-scenes relationships that made it so powerful. Number 13. Norman Lear offered to pay CBS to keep episodes longer.
So you're supposed to be Santa Claus, are you?
Ho, ho, ho!
As the 1970s progressed, commercial breaks grew longer and more frequent. Networks realized they could make more money by selling more advertising time during popular shows. To accommodate these additional commercials, something had to give, and what gave was the actual running time of the programs themselves. CBS decided to cut 3 minutes from All in the Family episodes to make room for more commercials. 3 minutes might not sound like much, but for a show that depended on dialogue, character development, and carefully constructed arguments between family members, those 3 minutes represented a significant loss. Scenes had to be shortened or cut entirely. Character moments that added depth had to be sacrificed. The pacing of episodes changed in ways that hurt the storytelling. Norman Lear was furious about this decision. He felt those 3 minutes were crucial for what the show was trying to accomplish. All in the Family wasn't a traditional sitcom that relied on jokes and punchlines. It was about watching real people have real conversations about difficult subjects. Cutting 3 minutes from every episode fundamentally changed what the show could do. Lear made an unusual offer to CBS. He said he would personally pay the network the amount of money they would lose by giving up 3 minutes of commercial time. He was willing to write a check out of his own pocket to keep his episodes at their full length. For a producer to offer to pay a network to air less advertising was virtually unprecedented. CBS turned him down. The network valued the commercial time more than they valued Norman Lear's money or his creative vision. They wanted those 3 minutes for commercials, and that was final. Lear had to adjust to the new reality, cutting his episodes down to fit the shorter running time and accepting that he'd lost a battle he'd been willing to pay to win. Number 14. Many viewers remember an episode that never existed.
Hey, how would you like to try this here chair? Because that one's mine.
Many viewers distinctly recall watching an episode where Edith had died and the family was mourning her. They remember the funeral, Archie's grief, and the household in tears. These memories are vivid and specific, but that episode never actually aired on All in the Family. The scene people remember happened in Archie Bunker's place. The spin-off series that continued after All in the Family ended in 1979. In the first episode of Archie Bunker's Place's second season in 1980, viewers learned that Edith had passed away from a stroke. The episode showed Archie finding her pink slipper and breaking down crying. That moment was so devastatingly powerful that viewers' memories transplanted it back into All in the Family, even though it happened a year after the original series concluded. This false memory became so common that it's now recognized as a fascinating example of how emotional impact can reshape memories. Number 15. Harrison Ford was almost in the cast.
Till 11:30. It's a 10-minute walk. We got time to spare.
Not now, Michael. I've got time.
Before he became Han Solo and Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford was cast in one of All in the Family's early pilots. He was hired to play a character named Dickie in the second pilot that ABC commissioned in 1969. Ford had been working as a struggling actor and part-time carpenter when offered the role, but Ford backed out before filming because he found the show's content too controversial. He was uncomfortable with the frank discussions of prejudice and Archie Bunker's bigoted attitudes. Tim McIntyre ended up playing the role in that version, though when CBS picked up the show, the character was renamed Mike and reimagined for Rob Reiner. Harrison Ford went on to become one of the biggest movie stars in history, but he missed his chance to be part of television history first. All in the Family changed television by proving that sitcoms could tackle serious subjects without losing their humor. The show's willingness to confront racism, sexism, homophobia, and political divisions made it both controversial and essential viewing. These small details, the budget decisions, the casting near misses, the moments of genuine emotion, remind us that groundbreaking television happens because of countless small choices made by the people behind the cameras. The show ran for 9 seasons and 205 episodes. From January 1971 to April 1979. It won 22 Emmy Awards and was nominated for 55 more. It spawned multiple spin-offs including Maude, The Jeffersons, and Archie Bunker's Place. But beyond the awards and ratings, All in the Family gave us characters who felt real, conversations that mattered, and the understanding that comedy could be both funny and meaningful at the same time. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on more fascinating stories.